In this video, I'm going to do a comparison on the new Toyota Tacoma SR5 and TRD models. Now the TRD is available in either a sport or an off-road model, but they start at the same price point, and so that's kind of why I wanted to lump them together for the comparison with the SR5. Now if you're looking at getting a new Tacoma, the SR5 is kind of the entry-level Tacoma that you want to start looking at. They do come with an SR model as well, which is just your bottom of the barrel, basic Tacoma. It's not really something I would recommend. If you're looking to get into Tacoma, you want to at least start with the SR5 model. But the TRD models are pretty small upcharge from the SR5, and so it's a worthwhile comparison if you're looking at getting an SR5 to also consider the TRD model. So what we've got right here is a perfect lineup for this conversation. This red Tacoma is the SR5 Tacoma. Right next to that, we've got the TRD off-road model. And right next to the TRD off-road, we've got the TRD Sport. So it's a perfect chance for us to talk about the similarities and differences between these three versions of the Tacoma. Now I mentioned price point is one of the kind of major differences between the three. If you're getting an SR5 model versus the TRD, you're looking at about a $1,500 to $2,000 difference to jump up to the TRD models. Now, first thing you'll notice is the grille is different. So you've got kind of just a blacked out basic grille here on the SR5. If you jump up to the TRD Off-Road or Sport, again, it's blacked out on these newer Tacomas, but it's kind of got a more unique look to it. This is the new grille for 2018. For 2016, the TRD models, this was all chrome, and so a lot of Tacoma owners were actually swapping out their chrome grille for the cheaper SR5 grille because they preferred that look for the grille. I'm guessing that with these new 2018 models, because of the change that Toyota's made, a lot of people are going to stick with this newer updated grille. Now, one of the other differences with these versions of the Tacoma is you've got the SR5 wheel here on the right. So it's pretty basic. It's a 16-inch wheel and then just a basic tire there. If you go with the TRD off-road model, again, it's a 16-inch, but it's got a little bit more rugged appearance to it. You get that black and the aluminum look on the wheel, and then those tires are Kevlar reinforced, and so kind of a better tire for off-roading. And then jumping over to the TRD Sport, you jump up to a 17-inch wheel and then just kind of a basic tire on there as well, but it's got a nicer look to it than that SR5 wheel. So that's the TRD off-road model, the TRD Sport, and then back over here, the SR5 wheel. Now, one of the things to consider if you're getting a Tacoma is if you're thinking about putting a lift kit on the truck or doing aftermarket wheels, the SR5 is not a bad option to consider, because if you're planning on replacing those wheels and tires anyway, it doesn't matter that you've got this smaller, kind of basic looking wheel. No reason to spend your money on that other set of wheels for either of those vehicles if you're going to lift the vehicle anyway. And so if you're looking at doing a lift, the SR5 is a really good option to consider for that reason. Now, there are still a few other differences between the two, so we'll want to keep those in mind as well. Speaking of doing a lift on the vehicle, the TRD off-road model comes with upgraded suspension. So I guess I can show you, there's not too much to see back there, but the shock back in here, you can see the blue and the yellow versus on the Sport model, it's just blue and black in there. The TRD off-road comes with a Bilstein shock in the front and rear. It's a little bit better for off-roading, whereas on the TRD Sport and the SR5, it's just going to have kind of a more typical shock, I guess, and maybe a little bit better for handling and just general day-to-day driving. The TRD off-road is going to be a little more durable and give you a little better ride if you're going to be driving on a lot of really, rugged dirt or gravel roads, or going to be doing any off-roading. Now, I mentioned with the wheels, if you're thinking about lifting the vehicle, that's something that's not going to matter in the SR5 model. With the TRD models, or the TRD Pro or off-road anyway, if you're going to replace the suspension when you do that lift kit, again, that's not going to have any added value when comparing the different vehicles. So something else to consider. The other thing, though, to consider that you're only going to get with the TRD off-road model is that it's got the multi-terrain select, which allows you to choose different driving modes. So if you're in snow, sand, mud, it's got different settings in there where the vehicle will kind of adapt for that off-road driving. And most importantly, it has a locking rear differential and crawl control. And so those are kind of nice features if you're going to be doing some true off-roading. That's something you're not going to get if you're planning on lifting an SR5 model. You're not going to get those features. And so if you're really looking for the most capable off-road truck, you're still going to want to start with the TRD off-road model, even though you might potentially be replacing the tires, wheels, and the shocks. So something to consider if you're looking at that. Now with the TRD Sport, the thing that really sets it apart from the other two is this. It's a hood scoop. But it's not really a hood scoop because it's just for appearances. It's basically a different hood. This is not a functional hood scoop, but it does give it a pretty cool look. But it's for appearances only. So unfortunately, it's not an option on the SR5 and TRD off-road model. It's pretty cool, but you're basically choosing between function over form if you're going with a TRD model, because you can get the locking rear differential and multi-terrain select, or you can get a hood scoop. There's still a few other differences. I mentioned you got the wheels here. The side skirt here on the Sport model is the same color of the vehicle. If you look over at the TRD off-road, it's black. The reason for that is if you're truly going to be doing some off-roading, that'll kind of protect the paint. So if you brush up against some bushes, the thinking is that that's what's sticking out widest on the vehicle. And so it's kind of your first line of defense. It won't really scratch that. With these guys, you can put some pretty good scratches in there. The SR5 model has also got those as the same color of the body of the vehicle. Now, another difference between the vehicles, and this is kind of a funny one, is this front air dam. So that'll get you a little bit better gas mileage. That comes on the SR5 model and the Sport model. With the off-road model, you don't want it because it's going to get in the way if you're off-roading. Personally, I wouldn't want it anyway because of the look. So even though I'm all about good gas mileage, in my opinion, the off-road looks way better than the other two because it doesn't have that air dam. It also looks like it sits higher off the ground because of that. And so I just think it gives it a little bit better look. If I were to get a Sport or SR5 model, I'd be taking that air dam off right away. Now under the vehicle, this is another advantage of the off-road model. You can see we've got this front skid plate and then another skid plate in the back there. Comparing with the Sport model, you can see you get that front skid plate, but back behind it, not there. So you have the advantage of an added skid plate. Likewise, on the SR5 model, jump underneath, you got the front skid plate, no rear skid plate. Now, I'm a fan of skid plates because just that added protection is nice. Even if you're driving in town, there's always that chance you're going to run something over. Nice to know that it's not going to run anything under the vehicle when you hit something. So it's a nice added feature of the off-road model. Now, on the inside of the vehicle, unfortunately these vehicles are locked at the moment, but you can see looking in the center of the dash, that screen, it's got the buttons on the side of it. Now with the TRD off-road and Sport models, that's an upgraded screen that's fully touch. So it's a little bit bigger, and then all of the buttons are on the screen compared with the SR5 model where it's got that smaller screen with push buttons. So in summary, the TRD models have a few nice features that you're not going to get with the SR5 model. This is a great option if you're looking to get really an entry-level Tacoma at the best price. Personally, I think it's worth the $1,500 to $2,000 to make the upgrade to the Sport or off-road model. I think they look really good straight from the factory. You don't really have that need to do a lift or make any changes to the vehicle. A lot of people still do, and they look really nice adding a few inches to them. Getting aftermarket wheels are nice on those models, but I don't think it's quite as necessary as it is on the SR5. I think if you get the SR5, at a minimum you need to get new tires, and new wheels would be ideal. If you really think about it, depending on what your intention is, if you're looking for the best looking truck, with the sport model, I think that the added grille, the hood scoop, the center screen in the vehicle, to me it would be worth that extra $1,500 to $2,000. It's not quite as much of a sell as the off-road model. If you're looking for a very off-road capable truck and you're comparing the SR5 to the TRD off-road, I think the value is completely there, because you get that multi-terrain select with the crawl control, the locking rear differential, you get that added skid plate, you get upgraded shocks, you get upgraded tires, and you're getting the added appearance of the grille and the wheels. Personally, I think you get a lot more bang for your buck with the TRD off-road model, even though I'm a fan of the sport as well. So in summary, kind of gives you an idea of what you're going to get between the SR5 and the TRD models. If you've got any comments or questions, leave them in the section below. For more videos on the Tacoma, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.